All right, this is the second video I've created for this series on my Tomos moped, and I just wanted to go over the various costs of things because I know that was a question on a comment, one of the two comments I think I've gotten so far. So I'll just go over each of the components that I remember the cost of. Generally, this bike I believe was $180 when I bought it. It needed to be fully restored, but fortunately, working on mopeds is really cheap. I mean, you know, the seat, I don't know, 50 bucks. I fixed the tank and required a lot of body work, but that was just all my labor. You know, tires got off of Amazon. Maybe they were 50 bucks. You know, these kind of things. So I'll just go over like the major parts. Like if you had a Tomos that was already restored or in fine shape, what it would cost you to make it this. So the main thing is the kit, right? So the 3000 watt 72 volt motor and controller kit from Amazon, that was I think from a company called Kunray, was 300 bucks. It's a pretty good thing. I like it because it was small and revs up to like close to 5,000 RPM. It's the first thing I've ever worked on with motors like this, so I don't really have anything to compare it to, but I'm pretty happy with it. This motor actually, there's something wrong with it. The seller was, after giving him a hard time, was eventually sent a new one to replace that because this one has a bad Hall sensor and it runs badly. Generally, let me think what the other major costs are. Okay, so the battery. So everybody talks about the battery being like the most expensive part of the build. Yeah, probably. I mean, I think if you had a bigger battery, which would always be nicer to have, it would have been the biggest expense. For this build, it was actually maybe the single most expensive thing. It was 500 bucks, but I don't consider it like a crazy amount for the project. So so you have the 180 for the bike, you've got the 300 for the motor and controller, and you have the 500 for the battery. Those are really the major costs of the thing. Getting tires and all the little electrical components and things that you need, none of those is a very big expense. And you're going to need those on anything, whether it be, you converting a moped or not. Eventually you're going to have to deal with, the little parts and things. I mean, the thing I had to buy a kickstand for. I mean, those kind of things, I don't know, are incidentals. Anyway, so let me just show you the motor a little bit. So this motor I attached to the bike with this, you can kind of see that sort of band right here. Oh, pointing at the wrong thing, this band here. It's attached inside of here where the motor would normally go, the regular gas motor. It's from like a semi smokestack, I guess. It kind of had the right features for me to modify to attach to the motor, so it worked out pretty well for this. If I did it again, I'm not sure if I would do the same thing, but just because it takes a long time to like set up the chain properly. I mean, you already have all the normal chain stuff that you got to deal with, and then this thing has to be adjusted. Whoa, has to be adjusted. Just drop the camera there. Perfectly, so that both the front and the rear sprockets are totally lined up, because you'll chew through chain and sprockets and custom sprockets and everything really quickly if they're out of alignment. Not only that, but the bike runs much rougher and makes a lot of noise, and also scares you because you wonder if that chain is going to get thrown off into your leg. Anyway, I put a cover on here for that fear. I don't know if it would really protect you that much, but my guess is that I kind of overbuilt this part of the bike. This is a number 40, number 40 chain, which is pretty robust. You can see how thick the sprocket is, and this is like a little, 120, 130 pound bike, so it's not really you know, needing a chain this thick. But the one that came with it was a bicycle chain, and that was way too flimsy. I think you can see peeking through here, there's an inverter. You can see the little cooling fins here. That knocks the battery power down from 72 to 12 volt to run all the accessories, the blinkers, tail light, headlight, and all that kind of stuff. It works great. Runs off, actually I wired it off of the circuit breaker here. So you can see that wire right there with a fuse. It's got a little fuse up here. What else can I talk about? I guess I'll pause it here, and then I'm going to start fixing the wire that goes from this this capacity monitor all the way back to the shunt here. Whoop, shunt that's in here. Anyway, I'll be right back. All right, so you can see this little yellow wire is the one that goes to the capacity monitor. This is actually like one of the original wires on the bike from 1991. I just reused it because at the time I didn't have a wire this thin. I'm going to try to use a slightly thicker wire. The main problem is it has to fit into the shunt, which I'll show you. But anyway, let me disassemble this. So to get the seat off, there's a little lever here that pops it off. And then, put this over here. So I put the main connection to the battery under the seat. I figured that was the safest place for it. I made this little raised thingy with a pretty strong magnet here to key in to the bottom of the seat. You can see those magnets stacked up like that. I think the original way that the Tomos worked, the seat worked rather, was it hinged. You can kind of see where it would have hinged. That was nice, except it wasn't a very sort of stable way of doing it, I think. Either that or, I don't know, maybe I didn't adjust it properly or whatever. I think this works a lot better. This kind of situates the seat properly and prevents it from moving around too much. I don't like the feeling of the seat not being secure. So here's a cover that I had 3D printed. I modeled it and printed it to hold the shunt for the capacity monitor. This has all been modified. This tank has been cut up a lot, and I did a lot of body work on it. But I've taken this thing off so many times that I decided to put a wing nut here and a nylon washer just to get into it easier. But in order to get into this, I could take the whole tank off, or I can just take off these little, I don't know what they call them. I like these connectors. I usually associate these with like car bodies or something, but this one comes off for some reason. But this allows me to take this cover off, put that down. Fits kind of snugly. So you can see that's the yellow wire that I was talking about, and this is just power, and then this goes to the capacity monitor actually. I think this is fairly well wrapped up. I don't think that this is an issue, but I do think this power wire is maybe an issue. You can see how I put the shunt right inside of here. I built this box. Like all 3D printed things, you know, you can remake it and make it a little bit better. If I did this again, I'd make the plastic that I put on the top here a little thicker. It's kind of thin and kind of cracked right here. But this part is not structural. It's just kind of, I don't like to have things that have power running through them very close to metal things like the tank. So I put this little detail on there. But you have the positive and actually, is this the negative? Yeah. I think it's a while since I did this. My buddy helped me. I think this is the positive wire that this just kind of goes in. There's an in and an out to it. and it monitors the capacity of the battery, and also tells you how many amps are being used. I'm going to go ahead and replace this wire and put the thing back together and see if the capacity monitor works better. So I took off the left side cover, which covers the inverter, and I put all the grounds in this little junction box. This cover is actually attached by a Phillips head in the front, and then it hooks on right here with one of these little things. It's kind of cool. I did that because I was taking these covers off so much that I was getting tired of, getting a screwdriver, undoing it, and sometimes I'd even do it on the side of the road. So this thing actually worked out pretty well, but I still have a regular Phillips head that I have to attach here. I haven't really found a better solution than this. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, show you. So right now I already undid the Phillips head that was in the front, but got to undo this thing. Sometimes it's a little bit tight. I got to get my pliers. Where did I put those pliers? Oh, right here. And then just kind of turn this a little bit to get it started. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. I'm sure that this was used for something totally different at the hardware store, not a moped, but it works pretty well for my purposes. Alright, so under this cover you can kind of see the battery peeking out. It's at an angle, and it's actually fixed into place by this threaded rod that goes through the seat post. You can kind of see how it goes through the seat post over here and over there. And it actually worked out to be really sturdy. I mean, this thing doesn't move at all. And by the way that I cut this tank, it actually stabilizes it up here as well. So I didn't really need that much to get it stable. It bolts into this stock position right here with a couple of bolts. There's one on the other side. Actually, I guess we call those nuts. And I put so these are the engine wires, the phase wires that are in this little box, and then I have the hall wires. I separated them out just because when you start messing around with the motors, pulling them in and out, and just how unreliable the stock Molex connector was, I like to see visually that each one of these is connected. So that's why I did this this way. A lot of this stuff needs to be, not waterproofed. I don't think I'm ever going to ride this whenever it's wet outside remotely, but it needs to be kind of stabilized, either I think epoxy or silicone or even hot glue, just to make make sure all of the connections are 100% stable. I think that I'm going to do that. So you're probably wondering what this big hole is that's cut in the frame here. That's where the gas tank would be if this didn't have a top tank. This is Tomos made sort of gas tanks that are integrated into the frame, as well as what they call top tanks. I cut this open in order to put all of this wiring in there, and originally it was in there, but I had so much trouble with this last motor that I didn't want to keep trying to get in there to handle all this stuff, so I just kind of routed it externally temporarily. So a lot of this stuff is like going through the whole original, getting the thing up and running, having it running into some issues, and then kind of troubleshooting. So now I'm kind of at the stage where I got it running again, pretty well, but I still have like the wiring in this sort of troubleshooted manner. So that's why it looks kind of crazy right now. But I tend to not like things that aren't kind of tucked away and situated. So I'm definitely going to be putting this wiring back in here. Now I'm going to 3D print a cover that goes in here. I had a question about whether or not this was strong enough by cutting this much of material out of the right side of the frame here. and it's strong enough. I mean, this thing weighs it doesn't weigh much at all, and it's not like this area is flexing that much, and it's a full sort of box section that's large, so I think we're good. I haven't had any problems with it yet. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take the tank off, and I'll show you that after I do it. Alright, so I just pulled the tank off to show you what's going on in here. I had cut the entire bottom section out of here in order to accommodate this battery, and also to put the capacity monitor shunt in there. And then here's the back side of the charging port. That used to obviously be the fill tank. And we're gonna see, I see like this looks like it's been sort of crimped a little bit in a couple of places. Doesn't look too bad though. It's probably not the reason why I'm getting some weird readings from the capacity monitor. This is all the wiring to that, and it looks okay to me. They have a lot of extra wire here, so I just I didn't feel like cutting into that. So I'm trying to kind of rethink whether or not I think this needs to be replaced or not, this wire. I think this little area here is maybe, I mean, it's not through the insulation, I don't think, so I don't know that this really needs to be replaced, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't know what else I can do to make capacity monitor work better. Any thoughts, please let me know. If anybody has any experience with one of these things, the Amazon special. All right, well, I think I'm going to assemble everything again and probably go for a little ride because it's a nice day right now. And I will try to get a video of riding this thing up soon. Like I said, I think I need to go buy a GoPro and put it on my helmet. I'm not sure exactly where on the helmet, but maybe on the front here somewhere. Got to get a mount as well. Apparently putting anything on the outside is illegal. I don't know if they really care about that where I am from, but we shall see. Thanks.